Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Kate, and welcome to my house in upstate New York. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi there. My name is Kate Wasserbach Moore, and I am the founder and creative director of Abel Honor New York. And welcome to my house in upstate New York. I'm from the area, the Loudonville area, and I always knew that I wanted to come back here and raise kids and have the upbringing and childhood that I had. So I dug my feet down in Manhattan at the age of 17, and then I stayed down there for about 14, 15 years during COVID. My husband and I moved back home. We are high school sweethearts, so it was home for him as well. But we wanted to find a home that was natural to our character and to our aesthetic. Loudonville is a hamlet in upstate New York, and it is very old and historic, so we knew that something along those lines, one of these old houses would be the perfect find for us. So we kind of waited on it, and we found this house. It's from the 1860s, and we fell absolutely in love with it. It has old bones, it's solid, and it often reflects how I design in my personal style. Longevity, old bones, good quality. So yeah, we fell in love with it, and we've kind of had it be our labor of love for the past 3.5 years. We have been nonstop from the second that we moved in, key in the door. We've been nonstop, my husband and I. The house did not look aesthetically the same, but it definitely, we knew we could work with the old bones, the dark woods we absolutely loved, and we just kind of made it our own. So pretty much this whole house has been repainted outside and inside. We have taken down wallpaper. My husband has actually became a molding king, and he's kind of tried to replicate and kind of give ode to the era of the time. So he's learned how to completely redo molding and make it fit, which isn't that easy in an old home like this, because there's a lot of I wouldn't say imperfections, but some things aren't parallel. The floors creak in the most perfect way, all that stuff. So if you were trying to be precisionary and do a molding project, it's a little bit tricky, but that was our most recent one that we have had some issues with and some swear words dropped, shall I say. But other than that, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to kind of understand and kind of make a mix of what works with us and what works with the home. Again, this home is from 1860s. It's from the 1860s. It has a lot of stories to tell, so we just want to be the next chapter of this home and not try to rewrite its history. So this is where I mainly enter, mostly because I just love to enter through here rather than the back door. I like to kick off my riding boots. This is a nice little drop mudroom for everything that we have. And then we utilize this barn door a lot, mainly because the house is pretty dark with the front of the porch. We don't get a ton of lighting. So I do like to either keep this open and let some fresh air in, some good feng shui, or just close it in general. But this is an original to the home, and I just think it's so pretty, and we like to use it as much as we can. So I love to come in here through this entrance as often as I can, and it's such a nice warm welcome. So right when you come in here, we go to the left here, and this is our drawing room. It's very cozy. We have the fireplace there. I like to I did a lot of juxtapositions as far as mixing medias here. Almost all of this, not all of it, some of it's collector's items, but all of these are from Abel Honor New York. These are old magazine cutouts that we did. So this features our season 1 and season 2. And again, giving ode to historic artists that have come before me. I used to go to the New York Public Library, find some old vintage magazines and then kind of recreate them here with all of our Abel Honor girls, men and women, and kind of give like a fun little marketing project for me and for the brand. And then once we moved here, I decided to make like kind of like an Abel Honor wall. Behind you here is our ballet gals. This was from my first art show in Manhattan right out of school. And we did a fun charity event for that. So we auctioned these off. This one I ended up keeping. There are 2 other ones upstairs that are prints. They're not the original, but they also are an ode to my fine art skills. As far as things that we collected here, I've had this since I moved to Manhattan in 2009. So he's been with me for a while. We have a lot of the old producers that we love: Pulp Fiction, The Shining, Fight Club, and then, of course, Salvador Dali reference over here. I made that one to kind of juxtapose the nice high chrome here. All of our fireplaces are actually a little bit different here. We have a bunch of different designs and intricacies throughout the house. I haven't looked up as far as the history behind them, but again, we try to keep as close to the original home's decor and kind of elevate and capitalize on how beautiful it naturally was. So again, we're not trying to rewrite history, just capitalize on it. And then again, we kind of come in here a lot with my daughter. This is kind of where we do our Sunday movie nights, hang out, we chill. The cloud couch never disappoints. So we're always here and we just like completely sink into this. My dog is often on here. He's a watchdog, so he gets to see kind of full panorama of the home, which is nice. So we kind of really hang in here and kind of let loose and really get comfortable. Another feature that I absolutely fell in love with is these doors. We have these doors throughout from this room all the way down to the dining room, and they're throughout, and they just open up, let some fresh air in. And we like to keep them open in the summer, and it's just like such a nice little breeze that comes through. But yeah, we have them repeatedly from east to west side of the house. So it's great. And we just absolutely love them. We use them often. And then in here, the vortex room, this is the game room. And this also kind of translates into the back of the home, and a little bit of like mid-century modern with the Panthers and this nice lighting here. But yeah, we like to come in here, have a glass of wine. My husband has this little like old school vintage bar cart here. So he gets some bourbon going in the winter and some gin going in the summer. Eventually I'll be able to partake. Can't wait. And then here we kind of just yuck it up. This is where I got engaged because this was my favorite room when we bought the house. So we call this the engagement room. And I don't know why. I think I just love this room mainly because it's set back in the corner here and you can kind of see the rest of the house, and it's just a fun little vibe. So again, going back to how I was inspired by Graceland, and I want each room to have like a different feel and a different theme. This is what we call, other than the engagement room, it was called the Hermes room before. And this has the Hermes orange. I just thought it was like a nice pop. And again, we kind of give ode to horses and the equestrian vibe, whether it's you're riding Western or English saddle. We do not discriminate. We got the Hermes brush over here and the saddle pad and the saddle cleaner. Mr. Buddha's down here. I just love the green. I think the green and the blue really make it pop. Again, the MCM Panther, he's here. There's also an MCM Panther over there. And yeah, this is the Hermes room. We also have Carson's corner, which is my daughter. And we kind of say this is like her corner where we come and we just have some story time and we kind of relax. But this is now known as Carson's corner. So she comes and sits here and we yuck it up. So this house, we have 7 fireplaces. And again, because there was no heat when the house was built, so everyone had to keep warm. So it's pretty much The house definitely holds its heat really, really well. We do use the fireplaces as often as we can. And again, we have these pocket doors here, so it can get really nice and cozy when you want it to be. And then as far as these, this light is MCM inspired. Actually, it's not inspired. I think this was from like the 50s. And this was thrifted or bought from in the antique warehouse in Hudson. So we go there often. It's only a half hour south of us. So we visit the antique warehouse as much as we can and yeah, pick from there. So what I really loved about this house was it's a blessing and a curse. I love the way they look. To clean them is a pain in the butt, but these little panes you'll see throughout the house on the upper part of the window. So you have them here, and again, it just creates this like beautiful sense of tranquility and it lets the sun in. We have them over there as well. And you will see that repeatedly throughout the house, these little panes. So yeah, I think that was like a really cool design detail that I just fell in love with. So you'll see that we repeated the blues and the greens here with our director's chairs, which are also thrifted. We got down at the Hudson warehouse, or excuse me, the antique warehouse in Hudson. Yeah, we have a lot of different themes and textures and motifs going on, but they kind of all blend nicely, at least I think. So we'll leave this Hermes room. This is the foyer, and we'll take you down into the dining room. But this is a cheetah rug, actually, that we repurposed from this woman who had it in her huge walk-in closet. So we got it custom fit to this house. And again, I think that it really plays nicely with the whole vibe. These kind of go with the ode to the chinoiserie vibe with the old willow. You'll see that throughout the house. That's definitely a theme with the blue and white pottery. We have it over here. We have it here. We have some fun things that make it very personalized. For instance, this is from my dad. And this was my first year that I got engaged. This was the first Valentine's Day. And he said, for Munch, which is that's what he calls me. That's my nickname. He says, for Munch from your first Valentine. Love you as big as the sky, Dad. So we have that there. But yeah, we like to have just like a bunch of layers of things. Right here is actually the first project that I ever worked on when we moved into the house. I bought this toile fabric. This is all fabric here. And we have custom piping here, and I just thought it was like a nice little pull through when you walk through the front door, and that's like the first thing that you see. So that was my first project. And I sewed it. Yeah, I did. All the piping, everything. I have my sewing machine downstairs. Yeah. And then these are all these windows that go up, and they look directly out through to the backyard here. So it's nice. Sometimes we have them open, sometimes we have them closed, but either way, it's nice to have the option. So here we have some, again, with the play up of the equestrians. We are only a half hour south of the Saratoga racetrack. I do have a partnership with a racehorse myself. I have grown up around horses, so that is a big play and a big inspiration to this home. This room mainly was inspired. There's a lot of things going on in this room, but we call it the Elvis room. And as you can see, the king, he overlooks us all over here, makes sure that we're doing, we have proper behavior when we're in this room and all of our friends are here. He's like, all right, time for bed. So he's over here and he is super fun. We thrifted him from a garage sale around here. He was $1. No one wanted him. I would have paid way more, but don't tell the seller that. So he was great. We also have the king up here. We have Elvis up here. And this is actually a collector's item from McCormick whiskey that they made during Elvis times. It has never been opened. And I think this is the third one. They only made like, I think 50 in the world. So he's up there. Again, look at over all of us here too. But we have a lot of fun things here. This is also thrifted. We have the Dior cause. So we have the high-low aesthetic here. My husband is a big golfer, so we have some odes to that. And yeah, again, the chinoiserie. This is all an original mantle from the home in the 1800s. So it is built to last, and it's been just, I think, a beautiful centerpiece right when you walk in, especially with the mirror behind it. It kind of makes this room look maybe larger than it is. And then we have, let's see, over here is a print that I got from Marshall's actually, and I didn't like the print, but I really wanted to use the canvas. Nowadays, stretching canvas and getting anything framed is a little bit pricier. So what I did is I printed out this Slim Aaron's image and I kind of Mod Podged it on top there. So we made our own little fun, one-of-a-kind print there. And then, like we have just some textures here with the pony hair and a lot of fun table reads. We don't actually read them, but it gives the vibe that we do. This is our new Abel Honor coffee table book from when we started in 2018 to up to 2025 with our most recent bridal collection there. We have the infamous or the famous Andy Warhol Campbell soup here. So that's an ode to one of the greats as well. And I love this room. I think that it's just a really great vibe. I think the dark wood is great. We're trying to go for the vibe of like, it's luxurious, but not fussy. And it feels good. It's a little kitschy, a little fun. And that's kind of what home's supposed to be. So again, these pocket doors are awesome too. They're pretty much throughout the whole home, which is great. So you can shut off a room if you want to, or open it up to all of your guests. So it's fun. So this is our main entertaining room. When we have guests over, I think mainly because it's the biggest, but we also have a lot of guests with kids. So it's nice to have the parents in the middle of the house and then the kids can run crazy all around it. So we always have an eye on either the kids somewhere in the room or somewhere in the house. We have wine, we have appetizers. I like to cook a lot. So this room, I would say, as far as hosting, gets the most use for sure. And like I said, I think that like I design rooms like I would design clothes. I get like my rings are all thrifted, other than my wedding ring. Sorry, Trev. That one's new. But my rings are all thrifted. I like to layer things. I like high-low. I like everything tells a story again. Like it's just very much like how I would translate my wardrobe into my home. So as far as picking art, again, like I don't stick to one era. Like I said, we have like the Warhol over here. These are all older things that we did for Abel Honor. That was a part of that whole marketing magazine campaign we did. So this was kind of pulled from these magazines that I collected at the New York Public Library and kind of made them into our own. And as far as art, it's just, I think it should really speak to you. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be more of a feeling. And that's really what we try to translate here a lot. What I really love about this home is that you're greeted by the wraparound porch, which is just charming in itself. When you get up there, you kind of hit a fork in the road. You can go to the left, which is a little more of like a casual hang. It's very equestrian, comfortable vibe. And to the right, we actually have a more formal sit-down dining room table outside, which is really fun. We use that often in summer nights, rain or shine, because the porch lends itself to some nice, either blocks the sun or blocks the rain, and both is great. And then you walk into our home by this old historic barn door, and to the left, you have this more casual family room, if you will. I think they call it a drawing room. And to the right, which is where we're at now, is called the parlor. What's great about this home is that it is very, has all these little rooms. It's all cut up versus the open floor plan that a lot of people have now. But we are also, you can also see through each side, from the left to the right side. So it's very transitional. But if you didn't want that, we have these beautiful pocket doors that just shut, and you can have your own time as well. We have a game room in the back, which we call the Vortex. When my friends come over, they get in there and they call it the Vortex because we have just so much fun. We light a fire, we drink some wine, we share stories. Sometimes we play games, sometimes we don't. I like to think that we play more games than we do, but we usually just get lost in conversation, and that's why we call it the Vortex. And then towards the back of the house is a kitchen, so it's nice. We're very segregated from the kitchen area. I like to host a lot. I love to cook, so it's great to kind of make a mess there and then have your guests here and not have to look at the dishes the whole time. So I will take you now into the dining room, but let's hit this little chair over here and kind of give you a story about where these came from. When we initially moved into the home, we tried to buy as much furniture that went along with the home as we can. Again, the aesthetic was a little bit different, so we reupholstered a lot of things to make it into our own vibe. So again, a mix of media where you have like the rich green velvet with the faux croc is just like so us, mixed with this very old school vintage wooden chair is kind of how we made a lot of these little touches our own. So yeah, we are now taking the exact same vibe and bringing it into the dining room. So we used as much stock that we had in the fabric rolls. We are a dead stock company. We used everything that we can to try to stay efficient and sustainable. So we did the exact same thing here. And we dressed our 6 chairs here in the same mixed media of the croc and the velvet. And we love this room. I think that sitting around a dining table these days is a little underrated. And we try to do at least Sunday dinner here every Sunday. But again, you'll see here an ode to the chinoiserie and the blue and white willow that's replicated here. We have the Campari. I mainly just loved the color scheme here. So he's there and he's kind of funky and fun. Over here, we have some black and whites here, again, with the equestrian vibe. We have a salt and pepper shaker, the high polished silver. This is Constitution Lawyer. He was my racehorse about 2 years ago. Again, with the Campbells. This was a project that I did, and you'll see upstairs, but I did a bunch of these ceramic balloons for my daughter's room. And this was my first trial and error. It was perfectly imperfect. This cracked in the kiln. It was my first balloon. And I was like, well, let's make do. It's kind of cool and funky and it's ironic. So he sits there and yeah, we have some fun coasters because I always like to keep it light. And yeah, this is like a fun little juxtaposition up here. And then we come on over here. And this is where I love to do my reading and my drawing and some sketching, some coffee in the morning, which is nice. And I just love this bay window. I've always been a fan and a sucker for bay windows. So when I saw this and during our house tour, it was like such a great thing. And it was almost like an immediately sold. It's funny because my husband says, even when we were in Manhattan, I would look at old apartments and I would envision like, where's the Christmas tree going to go? And he's like, well, let's not worry about the Christmas tree. That's like 3 weeks in the whole entire year that we have to worry about the Christmas tree. Let's see the functionality of it. Does it have a washer and dryer in unit? You know, all the things that you worry about when you're in Manhattan. And I was like, no, I just need to see if like I can envision a Christmas tree here. So decor is always on my mind. These are Slim Aaron's prints, and we have a few Slim Aaron's prints throughout the house. We just love him. Slim Aaron's gives like a very cool vibe to the home. I think that, I don't know what it is. It kind of brings you either back to a time that you either experienced or you didn't, but you do feel like you're a part of it. And it's like, that looks like a fun party I want to be a part of. Here is actually in either upstate New York or Vermont, which isn't too far away from us. My husband is a skier, so we included that there, and I thought that was kind of fun and funky. We have some vintage matches here, which are a lot of fun for the kids to touch and play with. But yeah, I think that those are fun. These came with the house. We did not reupholster these guys, but I'm sure they have a story to tell for sure. Let's see. Oriental rugs. You'll see a lot of them in the home. Not only are they durable, but they have just like a great feel to them. They bring in a lot of color when you need them. And yeah, they're bulletproof. So I love Oriental rugs. They're great. This centerpiece here is from my wedding. And again, I loved all of the wedding shots that were kind of behind the scenes. I think it very much goes with the vibe of kind of my aesthetic. So this was right after we got married. Our whole wedding party was just in the room debriefing, checking our phones and all that. But Travis and I got married in a castle, looked like a castle. It wasn't a castle. It was a private estate in Ireland. So that's a little snapshot from there. But I just love that picture. I love the juxtaposition of it and kind of everyone's debriefing, and you can just tell from their face they're just happy and ready to start partying. So that's pretty much all the people that we love right there. Let's see. These were all thrifted too. I think this is mid-century modern glassware. So I thought the dark black was great, or the black vibe. It kind of threw off what you're used to seeing as far as drinkware. So I loved that. And then my favorite part about this room is that it goes seamlessly into the porch. And this is our outdoor dining. So yeah, this is where we have a lot of fun in the summer and the nice days, or even the non-nice days, the rainy days. And we kind of yuck it up here. We got the ferns going throughout the whole entire porch, which we love. Here's a little easel, which sometimes I like to come out here in the morning with my coffee, do some sketching, do some work from home. I bought this print for my husband, Travis. He's a golfer, but we also have a big black lab here. And I just thought the two of them, it's like Cuff and Travis in like 40 years. So that's the two of them. I thought that was fun. Let's see. Yeah, we do during the summer times, and we put it up on Memorial Day and keep it all the way through 4th of July, Independence Day. But we have the floor to ceiling flag here right in the front porch. That is very, it attributes to the colonial revival time for patriotism. So it's very common to see around here in houses that that have these big wraparound porches. So we like to, again, keep it to the times. We have that there throughout the summer. It's very fun. It's very, brings some nice color throughout the porch. Again, you can see we have the reds down there. We have the reds here with the Coca-Cola. And then you kind of transition into the more comfy, cozy side of the porch here. So over here, we have my candle garden, which I love, and we like to light that throughout the summer, and it just gives a nice outdoor vibe. And then we have this kind of equestrian, let's see, what would you call this? This is a more like rugged vibe to the house, which I feel like is fun and kind of like kick your feet up, enjoy. Just another sitting spot. You'll see my saddle pad over there when I come home from riding. I hang it up there. And yeah, this is a good, fun, we always have to do the rockers. The rockers are a huge thing when it comes to front porches. So sitting here and rocking and just like taking it all in at the end of the week is truly like the best. Similarly to what I did in that room, again, you know, I really like large format prints or paintings. They do get a little bit pricier. So I tried, see, I could beat the system here. Again, I bought this print from, I think it was Home Goods. And again, I just really wanted to get a frame with a canvas, with a stretch canvas inside. And then I just kind of go to town on it. So it looked nothing like this before. And I took caulking from Home Depot and just kind of caulked all over it, which is the white that you see. And then I just did a roll of black paint. It was pretty easy, but it's a nice statement there, and it's one of a kind, and it kind of brings in the black and white from down there. So we have a nice transition from like the traditional black and white porch. I feel like it's very like Dirty Dancing vibes into this like equestrian kind of fun, relaxed, heritage kind of vibe here. But again, we kind of transition from like, again, the black and whites over here, the reds are down here. And it kind of seamlessly goes through from one end to the other. Okay, so we have the carport here. We do have a garage in the back, but I mainly use this carport for my car only, as you can see. But that's all that matters. But on the other side of the carport is my little herb garden. Well, there's an herb garden. Then we also do peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and we're living the dream here. It's very wholesome. We live off the land, but no, we don't. I do like to incorporate them throughout my summer salads and all that. So it's super fun to tend to. Carson gets up in the morning. We do our chores where we water all the ferns and we water the plants, and it's a nice way for us to get outside in the morning. I'm an artist. I'd say I'm an artist first, designer second, but I did always want to mix the two mediums, 3D fashion design with fine arts. So I went to Carson's in Manhattan at 17. And it was great. I learned everything I needed to learn there to dig my feet into the design world, into the industry, which is a tough industry in itself. So I apprenticed at Ralph Lauren and Dior Couture, and then I eventually was a designer at Michael Kors. So I worked at Kors for about 6 years, and then I took off and did Abel Honor. I knew I wanted to do that, but I did need to sink my teeth in with some of the professionals who do it the best. I learned refinement at Dior, and I learned lifestyle at Ralph, and I learned reach at Kors. And I feel like when I started Abel Honor New York, I still had something else to say. So I contributed that to all of those little things that I've learned in my design career at that point in 2018. We are a brand that is with the fight of fast fashion. We do not go on sale, we do not restock, and we have limited products. So we consider our product a collector's items. And the reason why we do this is to try to keep the brand DNA as strong as it is. We're really in it for the long run here. Eventually, we are on our way to becoming a lifestyle brand. So I thought you coming into my home and seeing how my vision translates from my clothes to here, it's actually very similar. I love it that this home can stand the test of time. It is so solid. It has nostalgia, but I know that it will last and be loyal, and I think my clothes are the same way. No stitch goes overlooked. We just got into bridal, which is great. So we're extending the brand, and our 10-year plan is to hopefully get into homeware and maybe kids wear, and just kind of follow my path into where I am at my life. I started bridal when I got married 2.5 years ago, and we just launched our first collection, our debut collection at Bridal Week in April. That was great. And that's been super successful thus far. We still have our rec wear and our black labels lines, and it's been great, and it's just been a journey. So I love to show you how my aesthetic kind of translates into different mediums as well. So this is just a next step in our big picture here. Let's bring you into the kitchen. So this is where we spend a ton of time, as you can imagine. And what I love about this kitchen, again, that it's separate from the rest of the home. So when I am cooking and creating and whatnot, I can just shut the door and enjoy my guests and not look at dirty dishes. But mainly this is where we hang out, because this is where my little Carson, she plays a lot. This is her little playroom, and she can get it as dirty as she wants. So yeah, she likes to play here. In this room, again, we kind of played with different textures and a lot of mixed media, whether it's from the pony hair to the faux hair to the suede to the black and white imagery. I love this room because it kind of showcases our backyard, which I love. So we get some nice morning light. And then, of course, we have the Vogue covers, which is an ode to my fashion sense here. And yeah, this room gets a lot, as you can imagine, like any kitchen, gets a lot of love here. It has been updated, but it is true to the home as far as layout. So we did update it a little bit. We have, I guess it was like a working kitchen where, you know, back in the day when they had someone, a cook or a chef, he would be out here separate from the entertainment room, which I still kind of like. Well, I'd like a cook and a chef as well, but I don't have one of those. I'm the cook and the chef, but it's nice to kind of be separate. Let's see. We have some fun black and whites up here from Muhammad Ali to Elvis, of course. Again, we really like to capitalize on the greats that have been before us in any art form, whether it's a musician or a photographer or an art or a designer or a painter. So we have the Missoni cookbook. We have all of these old VHSs up here, which are kind of fun. They also give a nice color to the muted kitchen. So yeah, this is kind of where the magic happens. So this is a piece that I bought. I thrifted the frame, and then I kind of did this like oil painting, but I did it with acrylic. And how you fake an oil painting is You can do it with acrylic, and then on top you do Mod Podge to make it more textured so it looks more of like an oil painting. So that's a faux oil painting, but that's all right. And then I sprayed it with a clear coating because we're in the kitchen here and grease and what have you. But yeah, that's like a fun little accent here. Over here, we have our blue and white porcelain that you've seen throughout the house. And again, we have our little butter jar and some spices. And again, it brings some color into this muted kitchen. We have the blue and white over here, a little picture of Carson and some fun things to pick on. My nieces and nephews, they always come in here and they say, "Aunt Kate, you always have stuff for us to pick on, whether it's candy or it's mints or whatnot, or it's nuts." And I do that because it reminds me of my grandmother's home. When I used to go there, she would always have things that in these little jars, like whether it's nuts, again, like gum or olives and whatnot. And I think it's just nostalgic for me. So that's why I do it. So hopefully my nieces and nephews will take that away and just be like, "Oh, that reminds me of Aunt Kate." Maybe they'll do it in 20 years and they have their own home. So in this little butler's pantry is where all the fun happens here. This is where we have our rig up our coffee. I like to jar a lot of our peppers from the garden. So those will last us throughout the summer. Sourdough, of course. I make Carson a fresh loaf every week. And then this is kind of cool. This is what I considered my at-home first aid kit. And these are all these herbs and kind of what they help you with. So I will revert to this if I'm not feeling too well before I revert to any medicine. And sometimes it works. Sometimes I need more reinforcements, but they're pretty much all teas. So we just steep them and pray for the best. So off the kitchen is our mudroom, and this is also where Cuff, our dog, sleeps. This is his quarters. And it's great. This is also brings us right out into our patio, which we spend a ton of time here in the mornings and at night. Whether if the baby's up in the morning, first thing we do is come out here. She has her own little mud kitchen and she has so much fun out in the backyard. Or at night when we put her down, we have friends over and we have fires and whatnot. But this is our fun little area that just gives a nice we have a lot of seating spots, but this one gets used out of all of them, probably the most in the summertime. And then we usually, if we don't use the front door, this is where we're kicking our shoes off. We're getting greeted by our nice boy Cuff. And then I made this curtain here just to hide all of our shoes because I hate looking at shoes here. So we just throw them back in there. There's a bunch of shelving back there that we just throw them on and kind of, I don't have to look at it, which is nice when I walk in. Although I do prefer to walk in the front door, but my husband likes to come in this way. And yeah, so this is fun. This is when we first moved in here before we had kids. My nieces and nephews came in here and I said, just have fun with it. And a lot of people are like, "Why do you still have that? You have your own kids." And I'm like, well, again, it's memories that we like to keep. So I didn't want to remove that and I'm keeping that as long as we can. This is thrifted. This is an Asian piece that I thrifted again at the Antique Warehouse in Hudson. We have the horseback here, which is called the fox hunt, which is often done in North or the Salem area, which is close to us during the fall. So it's great to go and see those events. So that's a little ode to that. But yeah, it's kind of a cool farmhouse. I think this used to be a screened-in porch, which would be nice, but we make it work. I get inspired by the places that I'm at. I'm constantly being inspired, whether it's a vacation that I take or whether it's a dirty old road sign on the side of the road. I'm constantly inspired by history. I think that's the main thing, and also irony. So I think, in Manhattan and in New York, I was really into like the streetwear vibe. And then I come up here and I go back to my roots. I'm horseback riding up here, I'm cooking up here, and it's a little bit more of a wholesome experience than, the Kate that's in Manhattan. But either way, I think they both translate where the quality stays the same. It's all high quality that I really enjoy. And I think nostalgia and irony is a big thing. You'll see in this house that I don't really stick to a design platform or design rules or one specific designer. Coming from a design school, I've learned, anywhere from like Bauhaus to, all these other nods to the greats that have done it before. But I think that I relate mostly to Ralph Lauren, where he collects things, and he collects things that just speak to him. And I think that's how art is supposed to be. And I think that that is what my designs are as well. I want someone to pick my design and feel, as in my clothing design, I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel strong, and I want it to speak to them. So whether it makes sense with their wardrobe or makes sense with the rules of what is a faux pas or a fashion faux pas or not, that doesn't really translate into what the effect that we're trying to give out. We are trying to give out kind of like, if it makes you feel good, get it. There's going to be some things that you're going to see through my house that make no sense, like the Warhol Campbell's Soup painting over here, or, something like the chinoiserie that's here that maybe doesn't make sense with the two times, but it works for me. And I think that it beautifully kind of transitions. I'd say that my design style and who I'm most inspired by is Elvis. I love Elvis Presley. I'm a huge Elvis fan, but I really love Graceland. I love how every single room tells a story. I love that it has a theme, and that's kind of what I want you to feel when you come into my house or when you're piecing together some of my wardrobes. I'm not really a name brand girl. Now, I do love YSL and Prada here or there, but only because they're such unbelievable designers of our time. I really appreciate artists, people who have done it before me. I'm not trying to remake history. I'm just trying to, I guess, appreciate it more and kind of bring it to the forefront. So that's why I collect a lot of things. A lot of things are from our historic nods to, again, nostalgia. I might have something new here, but it will be pieced with something old. A lot of my designs are, and I learned this from Ralph. When I was at Ralph, I couldn't believe that they have like a specific team that's just there for thrifting. And Ralph sends them across the world to just find things that they thrift and that they think align with the brand or just might align with them. They bring it back to him and he's like, yes, that works, or no, that doesn't, or let's make it work, or let's read a little bit more into this. He doesn't stick to the boundaries, and I don't think I do either. So it's kind of like a beautiful mashup and a juxtaposition of just things that I like. Okay, let's head on upstairs. So as we head upstairs, again, a huge piece or like statement piece of this home is the banister that goes from the top to the bottom here. You'll see that there's these alternating spindles here, which are so beautiful, and they are original to the home. And there was a well-renowned cellist who used to live here. For the safety of his own children, he put in these solid panels here, and we're happy that he did because it definitely uses its purpose, and it also brings a nice texture with that cherry wood. Okay, so we'll bring you into the nursery. This is also a piece that my grandmother, for her wedding, it was a wedding present of hers. So we definitely have that there to kind of, it does give ode to the house and the aesthetic, but it certainly gives ode to her as well. So I like to see that first thing in the morning when I wake up and I think of her. So we are going into the nursery here. When we first did this room, I didn't know the sex of my baby yet. So we wanted to keep it gender neutral, but mainly overall very fun. Again, giving ode to the greats, which is Sly, Tweety, Daffy, and Bugs, of course. They all have their own nameplates because they should. And we kind of went with that vibe with the kind of darker and rich colors, with the rich characters as well. All of these balloons I made myself, and they're all ceramic, so they're heavy. They're mounted on there nicely, but I'm sure that we'll have to readjust once the kids get a little bit older because I'm sure they're going to want to, tug on them. This is the Looney Tunes era. This is the urban Looney Tunes era, which I absolutely love. I made this as well for Carson, and you can tell they have all Abel Honor gear on. But I do love that era in I think it was like the 80s, I believe, in the city. But yeah, it was fun. So we have that there. And again, we kind of used a lot of the primary colors here to make it a little fun and gender neutral. So we are keeping this room as the nursery because we also don't know the gender of our next baby. So she will move in here just nicely. And then Carson got her brand new room. And again, to repurpose the fabric that we bought, I put the toile up here that you saw on the landing of the staircase over there. And then it's also used over here in on her shower curtain over here. This is Carson's bathroom, which is kind of fun with the stripes. Again, gender neutral. We got the fun little knobs to go with the primary colors and the yellow Looney Tune vibes. But yeah, this is a fun little bathroom for her. So I will now take you to her upgraded room, which we just finished. So this is Carson's upgraded room. And this was a labor of love by my husband and I. We have been working on this tirelessly for about 6 months. We have almost done and completed every aspect of this room ourselves, whether it's from the molding that my husband stained and put up throughout, or the stripes, which I, very much so crazily did myself as well. The molding is a little bit newer to the style of the home, but I did think that it kind of played off of the fireplace in the Mudroom, so it was a nice transition from down there to up here. I also think that it plays nicely with the stripes, so these like little block inlets I felt was a nice add and nice texture. And then we really wanted to play up the dark wood throughout the house, so we kept it natural to that. So we have the dark wood for the crib, the dark wood, of course, for the molding. And then I went to town on my sewing machine, and I pretty much created a lot of these textile centerpieces here. So we have this statement piece, which is above the fireplace, which she will never be using. But it was fun, again, like with like the nice pretty pink and the bows. It was cool to play up the little girl's room that I've always dreamt of for her. So we did that. There's this Singer sewing machine. We took the bottom of the Singer sewing machine, which is this wrought iron, and we used it as a kind of a wood holder, even though we won't ever have the fire on in here. It's a nice little display. When we first bought the home, I wasn't really too in love with these built-ins, but I figured we'll make it work because it's great for storage. So I did make this little like textile drapery statement piece here to kind of bring in some attention to it and some kind of royalty and refinery to it. And that also leads you down into here, into this. This was a thrifted couch here. So this couch is thrifted. It brings the seafoam green that you see over here, over to here. Again, you see the nice pink bows. That is definitely a theme throughout this room. And then I found this piece, which is definitely a spin-off of a Rothko. But I thought that it kind of has all the colors that I wanted. And it was originally like $700, and I got it on sale for like $75 at I think it was at an auction. I'm not sure. Something around there, but I don't think anyone knew that it was like a replica of a Rothko except for me. So I'm like, $75, are you crazy? So it actually worked. That was the first thing I bought, and then I went around that. It is, I believe, the 60th anniversary. I don't know what anniversary it is of Eloise in Paris, but the original Eloise in Paris book has this whole color scheme in it with the cobalt blue and the light pink and the green and the white. So I wanted to play that up for Carson without making it too girly. And this is Carson's corner, another Carson's corner over here where she is displayed. And this is where we'll hang. So this is in her closet, and this is the original Victorian stained glass window that was gifted to the homeowner, the Stedman homeowner, George Stedman. And rumor has it that it was gifted to him from Italy, I believe, and shipped all the way over here with this natural jade stained glass. So that's a nice centerpiece for her, the princess. But yeah, it also brings in a lot of nice light as well. So sometimes we'll keep it open, but I'm sure a lot of the times I won't want to look at her messy clothes and I'll shut the door. But it's a nice nice added touch for sure. So a lot of these windows, again, you'll see these small panes, but these windows actually open up non-traditionally like barn doors. So you have that here. You have the 4 paned ones over there, which is great, and they open up nicely, and they just give a really nice touch. This used to be one of the doors that you have seen downstairs. We have one up here. We just decided to close it off for the safety of the kids, but that is the balcony that is connected to our room. So that we can get out for sure, but the kids are not allowed. So now I'm going to take you into the office. Both my husband and I work from Manhattan, but when we do work from home, we tend to get some work done here. But yeah, this is, again, like a lot of collector's items, whether it's books that we read. Again, you'll see the Abel Honor magazines, the vintage magazine cover. My husband's a big time skier, so you'll see the Chamonix here. Elvis, of course, he makes his debut in almost every room. This is the Ballyfinbear. This is where Travis and I got married. This is the estate that we got married at in Ireland. So the Ballyfinbear stays there. There's a lot of fun things here. Fashion books. Here are some sketches actually from our newest collection of Thorn and Veil from the bridal collection. So those are out. And I like to review those with some of our up and coming brides. Can't fit through there. You'll see again here, another fireplace. My husband actually does use this when he works sometimes, just to set the mood and set the vibe. These are some vintage theater chairs that we thrifted, which we thought were kind of cool. And again, you see this transition into these panes again that you see throughout the house. But again, it's very cool. I love these corner windows because they really bring in a lot of light. But yeah, again, playing up with the high-low things, we have, the traditional plaid and tartan, but then we also have like this kith dartboard. So it's might not make sense to all, but it makes sense to us. And again, we just kind of gather and collect things that we love, and is a testament to it. So these are actually what I've been working on lately, and this is actually our Thorn and Veil collections. These are some of our approved sketches that we were offering our brides, and these are kind of a nice representation of what the brides will look at. And we kind of start with a sketch first, because if they want to change a few things, it's easy to erase, mark up, and kind of give them the dress that they want. So we start with a sketch, and then we go into a 3D rendering, and then we go into, muslin, fabric fittings, the whole thing. But this is definitely the early design process. As you can see, all of these have been approved, and we are moving towards market with these. So yeah, it's an exciting time for Abel Honor, but this is kind of where the magic happens. Okay, so we'll head into the primary bedroom right now. And this bedroom is kind of inspired by the Pendleton textiles and whatnot, and you'll get a glimpse when we get in there. So you're now entering our primary. This is our 7th fireplace that you've seen. And again, it's a testament to how great the structure and the bones are of this house. We don't use this often because it's funny, when we first bought this house, everyone's like, oh my gosh, how much is it going to be to heat it? And this house honestly keeps in warmth and our AC so well. It's cool in the summers, and it's warm in the winters. So this is our primary. This is our primary bedroom. And again, this is all Pendleton inspired. It makes us feel cozy. It makes us feel warm. We have these 2 prints here. These were the prints that I was mentioning from my first art show after I graduated for a foundation. And I thought they were just great, and they were kind of like nice statement pieces, again, to bring out the black and the Pendleton. We have the wicker beds, which I think are nice, and that's kind of like an old testament to like the old Charleston wicker basket. We are big fans of Nantucket. We have been summering there for my whole entire life. So the basket weave is certainly on our mind at all times when I'm designing. And then one of my favorite parts about this bedroom is that we have the his and her balcony on each side. So I like to come up here in the mornings with some coffee. This is a screened-in door, so we like to even sometimes sleep with it open. Not to mention that there will be no bugs out here, which is nice because of the screen. But yeah, this overlooks the whole front property, which is so great. We have some coffee cups there for us, ready for us every morning. And yeah, it's just really, really nice. During the springtime, all of these magnolia trees are in full bloom and just like, they're beautiful with the pink. So this is where I'm usually spending most of my spring. So yeah, like any mantle, we have some nice memories that are highlighted. This is from obviously our wedding in Ballyfin in Ireland. We have Carson here. She's front row center, as she should. This was our engagement shoot when Travis and I first bought the house. We did a shoot here. And then these two were from the night before our wedding. So it's just a fun memory, and it's kind of cool to see how we evolved from engagement to wedding to our first baby. More to add for sure. So now we'll go into the bathroom here, and the bathroom is, we do get a lot of light in this bathroom, so it is very nice for getting ready. And again, you will see these old windows with the old panes, which is fun and nice, and again, attributed throughout the whole entire house. So, of course, naturally, when I had my baby girl, I was like, the first thing I have to do is do one of these like silhouette, negative space kind of portraits. So I just think they're very sweet. They're very cute. And again, they're very historic. My mom actually has an old pendant of my grandmother when she was little, and she has one on a pendant. So I made one for Carson. This was her at 4 months old. And I think that it kind of went with the whole vibe of our home as well, with the history behind it and whatnot. So again, we like to play tribute to those fun things. And again, this bathroom is a little bit different than the rest of our house. It's very like light and organic, and I feel like that's how bathrooms should be. So, you know, you'll see like a lot of these ceramics, whether it's the ceramic sconces or the ceramic lights up top. But yeah, it's kind of fun with the roses and the organic feel of it all. It's very, I would say it's very refreshing in the morning to wake up to this. So it's, again, with the nice light and this like kind of muted tones. It's very nice. Before Travis and I were married, again, we were high school sweethearts, so we dated for a very long time. So I do love monogrammed everything, whether it's monogrammed towels or sheets or whatnot, but we weren't married yet. So I couldn't put like the M or KWM or KTM or whatnot. So we actually made our own, or I made, of course, our own little logo of T and K right there. So you'll see those throughout the house too, which is kind of fun. So yeah, that's kind of before we were married and our little home decor there. But now we have TKM everywhere. But this was a fun project. When we first bought the house, I got like 40 of these towels made in monograms. So you'll see them throughout. But yeah, they're kind of fun little ode to, you know, our life before it was two. The two became one. What makes a house a home, I would say, is the people. It sounds corny, but that's a huge reason why we moved home. My family is here. Travis is from here as well. So it was an easy decision, us making this manifest destiny upstate. And we fill our home with laughter, with smiles, with fun. And I know that Carson's gonna have my daughter Carson and my next born. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but we'll see. But I know that they're just gonna have such a great foundation here. And I think what makes a house home is security and safety. And they just know that the door is always open. And that goes for family members, but it also goes for friends and anyone. If you guys come on in anytime, sit down. I want you to feel comfortable in this home. I want you to feel something. I want to create memories. I don't want to create moments, if that makes sense. You come in here and I want it to feel like you've been here for a while. And I want it to feel like, you know, you never have to leave, even though I might kick you out after 9 because I can't keep my eyes open after 9 these days. But yeah, I think that this home is supposed to make you feel warm. I think all homes are supposed to make you feel warm. And I really feel that having the space now versus being in Manhattan, I can really flex that creative liberty of making it feel exactly how I want it to feel. But my childhood was so great. My mom has always made every home every dorm, every apartment that I lived in. She's come in and put that, like, her personal touch that, you know, only moms can do. And it was almost like she was there with me when I was, you know, 17, digging it at Parsons and having a hard time and sleepless nights and all that. You know, she made it feel that she was there. Or I want that for Carson as well, and anyone who comes here, to where they feel, okay, a little piece of home is taken with me. It's kind of hard to encapsulate what home is. I think it's more of a feeling and less of a exact place.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.